Is X male or female? No, I'm not crazy. Answer the question. Is X male or female? Male, right? But why is X male? And why is Y female? And how did I know that you'd think X was male? And how the hell did I get here? I'm glad you didn't ask. Well, let me tell you. Well, you see, it was a boring math lesson. I was diligently taking notes about coordinates when a thought suddenly hit me. Why was I thinking of X and Y as people, instead of, letters/numbers? And at that, why was I thinking of X as male and Y as female? They're not people. My first idea was that it was because Y was second, and the systemic misogyny and toxic masculinity rooted into my brain by using religious school resulted in that idea. In order to test my theory, however, I asked a bunch of people to assign genders to certain letters. V, W, X, Y, Z, O, Q, P, and R. But no one cares about R. Of this, 60% of people considered Y to be female, but 60% of people also considered V to be female. And 100% of people considered X to be male? Why did this happen? This is a phenomenon in psychology known as ordinal linguistic personification. I'm not a good enough editor to make that show up with my hands, so OLP is a form of synesthesia in which ordered sequences such as ordinal numbers, days, months, and letters are associated with personalities and genders. Translating that from Wikipedia, this essentially means we associate inanimate objects and concepts with human personality traits such as gender and actual personality. So we know this is a real thing, but we still don't know why we do this. Why was it that X was always male? I sat on that question for a few hours, until I met up with a friend named Xavier. See, Xavier, traditionally speaking, and mind you, for the rest of this video, when I say X is a boy or girl name, I am referring to traditionally. X is traditionally a boy name, and it's probably one of the most popular, if not the only popular name that other than Xander, Zalexander, Xexra. So, the next day, I conducted another test. I asked people to give a gender to a letter, and then tell me what was the first name they thought of when the gender came to mind. I was right. The gender of the name that people first thought of correlated with the gender they assigned to the letter. I even got anecdotes from friends who I'd brought this up to saying they tried this with parents or siblings and got the same results. That begs the question though. How do names have genders in the first place? So before you be a smartass and say, oh, we know people with names, and that influences our answer. Because if we knew a male Alex, we'd be more likely to say that Alex is a male name. Well, guess what? What gender is Jekka? You ever seen a Jekka? No, because I made it up. But I did a survey, and guess what? Jekka was almost always considered to be a female name. My hypothesis was that names with soft endings, such as ah or oo, would be considered more feminine because of the stereotype of women being soft, and therefore sharper endings, such as ta or n, would be masculine. The results back me up with flying colors. 80% of people said that Jekka was a female name, and 90% said that Lent or Vent were male names. At that, even though it wasn't an option, 4 people said that Simu was non-binary. So obviously, the most popular baby names for X would all end in hard sounds, right? Well, I checked the USA most popular baby names website. Only 2 starting with X ended with a hard sound. So then why is X male? We discovered that 100% of people think that X is male, but the statistics from the US government website directly disagree with that. I decided to do one last survey. Just 2 questions. Name a name that starts with X, and name a name that starts with Y. And then, everyone said Xavier, and almost everyone said Yeva. So what the fuck is going on? Well, something I didn't account for was that I was looking at 1,000 baby names. Just because a name was on the list didn't mean that it was a well-known name, and therefore shouldn't be weighed the same as other names. So with that, I was able to develop a formula. 1,000 minus rank plus X, where X is the total of other points. So something funny I found while doing the research was that Jesus was the 172nd most popular baby name in 2023. So, The rapture's happening, I think. Anyways, with this formula, X got more points towards harsh-sounding names, and Y got significantly more points towards soft-ending names, despite having less masculine names. Fuck. So finally, let's do the most important thing, given all this research. Make the most masculine, feminine, and androgynous names. First of all, the most masculine letter is X, so let's just order all the masculine letters. If you want a sigma male child, name your child DJ Skune. Don't know how that happened. But if you want a male wife, or just a wife, or just, actually, don't marry your children. Well, either way, name your child Yovka, or Yovka. Yovka? And if you want a non-binary child, name your kid Zizar, or Zygarde. I don't know. Fuck it, name it Al Creamy Swirl at that point. So that's it, right? I did my research, I found my results. That's it. I can go home now. Letters have genders, for some fucking reason. But wait. Why are soft sounds feminine, and why are hard sounds masculine? Well, the answer comes back to my very first theory. Systemic misogyny and toxic masculinity. There are, still, even now, systemic issues regarding women's rights revolving around preconceptions forced us to us from birth, and one of the most subtle forms of this misogyny is in names. Names and concepts are given genders for no reason other than to widen the gap between men and women. So if you ever manage to score by some miracle, name your child Zizar, or Zygarde, or Kale, or Kai, whatever the fuck, it's yours anyways. Eat it.
Making outros for you.
So I know that I just talked about systemic misogyny, but I made a formula to calculate your name's masculinity or femininity, and I can't put it anywhere else in the video. So here's how you do it. Add the values of all your letters as dictated by the pastebin in the description, then divide it by the amount of letters and multiply it by 100. I'll have the actual formula in the pastebin too. So the closer you are to 0, the more feminine it is. The closer to 1, the more masculine it is. For example, my name is Ezra, so that would be 0.5 plus 0.5 plus 0.4 plus 0.3 divided by 4 times 100, that's 42.5%. So George would be 60%, Kayla would be 37.5%, DJ X1 would be 78%, and Yovka would be 18%. Okay, thanks for watching. I have to go do my Duolingo now.
Making outros for YouTube videos is hard. Just like my...
Oh my god, I'm sweating my fucking balls off. Jesus Christ. Oh my goodness.